Choosing presence over convenience, reclaiming connection in a digital age. Let's be honest, most of us are in a three-way with our smartphones. The relentless notifications, swipes, and endless scrolling feel harmless until you notice how hard it is to connect with the person in front of you, or even with yourself. In this video, I'm going to be taking a grounded look at what our devices are doing to our attention and to the brain, sleep, mood, friendship, and intimacy. And then I'll be showing you practical ways to reclaim presence while still acknowledging some of the very real ways digital technology has improved our lives. I'm Ben Ufana, and as I do weekly, most every week, I'm coming out with new articles. Each of these articles includes so much depth and detail, and because I want to remember everything or include everything that needs to be said, I'm going to be reading from the article itself. So with that, let's dive into it. Heavy use and our continual switching between apps and feeds conditions the brain towards fragmented attention. The more we split our focus, the worse we get at filtering noise. Working memory performance drops. As our digital streams multiply, our inner world gets noisier, not sharper, and it becomes harder to encode and retain what matters. At night, two things tend to happen when we're on the phone or laptop. First, time slips. 10 minutes easily turns into an hour, possibly multiple hours. Second, our circadian rhythms get thrown off. The blue light suppresses melatonin, and then that pushes sleep further back. And the interactive, emotionally charged content keeps our nervous systems ramped up. So our sleep isn't as deep, and we feel it the next day in our mood, attention, and clarity. Small things can erode connection long before big fights in our relationships. Phubbing, the reflex to glance at screens or scroll while someone is talking, and even a phone laying face up on the table sends the same message. You're not fully here with me. Even without the incessant notifications, the device tugs at our attention. Phones and feeds have trained us to stay on alert. These micro-ruptures don't blow up a relationship in a day, but they slowly degrade the quality of intimacy. Conversation flattens, eye contact decreases, and we're less present and engaged with one another. Empathy requires presence. When part of our attention is pulled into our devices, we miss the micro-expressions, the brief pauses, the subtle shifts in tone we need to fully understand what is being said. The repair is simple and powerful. Put the phone away. Put it out of sight. If you notice your attention drifting, name it. Oh, forgive me. My attention just wandered. I'm back now. Set clear agreements. No phones at meals, or when one of us is addressing something of importance. If you must check a message, say what you're doing and when you'll be back. Give me 30 seconds or a minute. I need to deal with this. Okay, I'm back now. I'm present. These small courtesies restore trust, and they tell the person you're with that they matter more than your social feeds and the incessant stream of texts that are blowing up your phone. TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, and other social media platforms are consistently associated with shorter, poorer sleep, higher levels of emotional distress, especially for teens and young adults. Late night use means we stay up later, we feel compelled to keep checking our feeds, and the mind keeps ruminating long after we've logged off. This combination fragments the very stages of sleep that enable us to digest our lived experiences and emotional responses and consolidate memory. Intermittent rewards from likes and engaging content triggers the release of dopamine and sustained activity in the reward and attention networks. The social component, comparison, waiting for replies, replaying conversations, recruits the brain's default mode network, which fuels rumination. As a result, deep and REM sleep are diminished. By morning, The prefrontal brakes on emotion are underpowered, the amygdala is more reactive, and we feel more anxious and unsettled. Getting enough sleep isn't optional. It's crucial for the body to regulate its essential functions. When we're sleep deprived from excessive device and digital media use, our capacity to show up for ourselves and others diminishes. Loneliness and isolation are growing public health concerns. Many of us spend far less time with friends than we did 20 years ago. Fewer hours spent with people means fewer chances to have any kind of meaningful engagement with others or practice presence. A growing share of people, especially men, report having no close friendships. Sex and dating have also declined. People are having sex less often than in previous decades, and more young adults say they have little or no partnered sex. None of this stems from phones alone, yet devices and feeds contribute to an ecosystem that eats time, fragments attention, and makes low effort, low risk contact the default instead of real time together. Face-to-face time provides essential nourishment. In person, we co-regulate each other's nervous systems and emotional states. Phones cannot do that. Tone, inflection, eye contact, micro-expressions, and shared silences are part of the equation. When we default to screen-mediated contact, text, DMs, voice notes, and even video, we lose that richness and stop practicing the small social moves that build intuition and skill, such as reading social cues, staying with the pause, clearing up misunderstandings, and resolving conflict. Over time, it shows up as more awkwardness and avoidance, fewer return calls, and text. When we stop showing up in person, the development of new social skills and the ones we already have begin to atrophy. As a result, our capacity for presence fades. One of the more glaring and painful examples of disconnection shows up around birthdays and holidays. These are moments when it really means something to hear a voice or see someone in person. Yet, instead of showing up, instead of calling, many people send a quick text. You read it, and instead of feeling cared for, you feel cheated. It hurts. It feels like they don't really care enough to make the effort. That's the problem with convenience. It undermines the deeper forms of connection we need. Not everything about social media is bad. It's great for staying loosely connected to people you don't see much. Family, friends, old classmates, and acquaintances you've made over the years. Those like connections can open doors. A much needed introduction, a job lead, or useful information you wouldn't have come across on your own. Facebook and other apps make it easier to keep these threads alive with almost no effort, and these bridge connections are often what help you to stumble into new ideas and opportunities. And I know firsthand, over the years, I've lost touch with people that I truly cared about. Friends from college and different seasons of my life, and I've managed to track some of them down, yet others, I have no idea how to find them, and it genuinely pains me. Facebook, though, has made it much easier to stay in touch with people, even if maybe I only interact with them intermittently, like maybe a few times a year. But if I'm ever back in their part of the world or the part of the country they live in, we can easily reconnect. It also makes it easier to remember birthdays, to drop a quick note, and it just keeps the door open so that we don't drift apart and can easily find our way back. When you're trying to stay connected at a distance, video calls can be enormously helpful. And for many older adults, for people in developing nations who have to work abroad for extended periods, and honestly for all of us during long stretches apart, seeing a face and hearing a voice can ease a sometimes unbearable sense of aloneness. Used intentionally, these tools can help keep the connections that matter most alive. They do not replace being in the same room, the hugs and other physical contact, direct eye contact, the feeling of someone being right here with you, all of which sustains us. Yet, we are far better off with video calls than without them. So let's talk now about practical ways to sustain presence. And for many people, a good starting point is making sleep a priority. A lot of what I'm reading, hearing from different sources talks about the importance of having a digital sunset. For instance, 90 to 120 minutes before bed, or even an hour. Dim the lights, leave your phone outside the bedroom or at least across the room. And if you absolutely need it, just use it for tasks that are low arousal, such as checking your schedule for the next day or setting your alarm. And then put it down. Fill the wind down time with quiet inputs, such as reading a book or writing in your journal. I need to admit, though, that this is one area where I do find a bit challenging, because often what happens somewhere around 10 or 11 o'clock at night, I start getting all kinds of inspiration, and that's where a lot of my creativity emerges, and it is expressed through my writing. That creative inspiration will be flowing through me for another hour or two or more, so I can be up till 12 or 1 o'clock. And when I do lay down, it may take me some time to drift off to sleep, but I think to some extent my body has sort of adjusted to this digital age and the use of our technology. But still, it may not be ideal. Anyway, let's keep moving. When you're connecting with people who matter to you, establish no phone zones so you could actually talk uninterrupted. When you're with friends, your partner, or again, anyone else who matters, especially when there's something important to sort out. Even when silent or face down, a phone out on the table changes how we speak and listen. Phones act as anchors because years of conditioning have trained us to respond to them. Put them out of sight, in a bag, a pocket, across the room, when you're meeting up, when you're hanging out or walking or just engaging with a friend, or again, anyone who matters to you. I admit, though, that often I make an exception to this rule when I'm in Sri Lanka, because I have to rely heavily on Google Translate to communicate with friends who speak limited or no English. A lot of my Sinhalese and Tamil friends and I rely on Google Translate whenever we need to communicate something clearly. It bridges the gaps by helping us to understand one another. And over time, it has deepened our connections. And for me, this is one of the best examples of how technology can make a profound difference in our lives. Texting is fine for quick logistics, such as time and place. Like, I'm running 10 minutes late. Yet, it's grossly inadequate when it comes to handling complicated matters, and even worse, when we find ourselves arguing over text. Without tone, timing, and eye contact, messages often get misread, tension escalates, and it can seriously damage our relationships. If the connection and issue really matter, at least call. On the phone, you're both engaged in real time. And you can hear tone and inflection. The emotional connection is also stronger. If you want the visual component and facial expressions and eye contact, use video. FaceTime or the video feature from WhatsApp. And when it's truly important, if at all possible, meet in person. When more of you and the other person are present, understanding is much deeper, and ruptures in the relationship are more easily repaired. So many people's lives now revolve around work. And worse, so much time gets lost to scrolling that we stop connecting face to face. Some avoid meeting up because they're unwilling to show up. A critical part of showing up to life involves making time for friends and family, your partner, and anyone else who matters. Schedule lunches, walks, films, concerts, or any of innumerable other activities into your week by adding them to your calendar, because presence grows when you're consistently showing up. Many of us are feeling so overwhelmed by all the things we have to do that we've fallen into the habit of multitasking, feeling as though we have to just to keep up. The problem is that we are not nearly as effective when our attention is continually divided. One of the best ways to counter this tendency is to focus on a single task at a time. Start with 10 minutes of undistracted focus, and over time, stretch it to 15, 20, 30 minutes, even an hour or more. Sit in meditation, breathing softly and deeply as you fully immerse your awareness in the depths of any sensations that arise within your body. Read one article at a time from start to finish, or write your own article or an email. Have a conversation, giving it your full attention, listening closely to what the other person is saying and how they are saying it. In doing so, you are training your attentional circuitry. On my Google Pixel 9, I use Extreme Battery Saver to shut down all non-essential apps. It hasn't just cut down on mindless scrolling, it has nearly stopped it. The only apps I keep open are the app itself to make phone calls, text, WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, and Google Translate, the ones I actually use to communicate with people. I encourage you to do the same on your own phone. Turn off all non-essential notifications and keep your home screen boring. And set app timers on the ones that eat most of your time. You might also consider deleting some of these apps. By doing so, you're adding small hurdles that interrupt autopilot and discourage mindlessly defaulting to unhealthy habits, so you can choose presence in the moment. Community building is also a crucial aspect of showing up more fully present. Get out of your feeds and out into your neighborhood. Volunteer, take classes, show up for community events. Not necessarily to meet the one, but to connect with people with whom you genuinely resonate. Choose the reoccurring events and venues that most appeal to you. Weekly classes, meetups, local cafes and coffee shops, and keep showing up. Learn people's names, engage in conversation, and be helpful. Exchange numbers and say yes to invitations. By showing up consistently, you're gradually building a growing network of friends and acquaintances. It's important to understand that presence happens in degrees, and it grows with consistent practice. Make a concerted effort to show up more fully, rather than text, call, or better yet, meet in person. Feel what you feel and find healthy ways to express it. Allow yourself to be open, authentic, and at times vulnerable. Saying what you're thinking and feeling will also take into consideration the feelings and needs of others. And keep developing your interpersonal skills by actively engaging with the people around you. And for many of us, it's also important to become more physically active, whether it's walking, working out, playing sports. Get involved in what's happening in your community. Taking classes, showing up for local events, or volunteering. Make a difference in the world by intervening on behalf of those in need whenever and wherever you can. When you're getting by on poor sleep and your system is on sensory overload because of your addiction to your phones and feeds, and you're continually gorging on a never-ending stream of digital media, every relationship suffers. For your own well-being, I encourage you to carve out space for yourself. Give yourself the gift of phone-free time every day. That space gives your brain and body, really your whole being, the chance to digest your lived experiences along with your thoughts and emotional responses, so you can show up with more warmth and depth. Whenever you notice emotions or bodily sensations arising, pay attention to where they land in your body. Breathe from the center of what you feel and follow the sensations as they move through their progression. As you do so, you are building a more intimate relationship with yourself, which in turn increases your capacity to connect more deeply with others. Digital tools are great for keeping up with friends who are far away and for staying loosely connected. But when they start replacing sleep, quality time, and face-to-face connection, they erode the essential elements that make relationships feel real: your attention, your empathy, and your presence. The solution isn't to eliminate technology. It's to prioritize interactions, whether by phone or better yet, in person, that let you be more present and engaged. If it matters, call instead of texting. Meet up when you can. Keep practicing presence, eye contact, listening, no phone on the table, unless you're across countries and cultures with little or no shared language and genuinely need Google Translate to communicate. That's how we grow real connection with ourselves and each other. Ready to show up more fully present in all aspects of your life? The individual sessions I facilitate, especially in person, and phone sessions for those at a distance, will help you connect with your emotions, embody your authentic self, and become more present in your body and surroundings and engage more deeply with the people who matter most. Message or call 332-333-5155 to learn more or schedule a session, and also visit benufana.com or teachmetomeditate.com.